Right, listen. So this is using Python in multimedia and gaming machines. And in this class, we'll discuss about multimedia painting and drawing tools and what are the 3D modeling and animation tools. Okay. So this is especially for you, my dear students and young researchers. And you can reach me at dr.christoananth@gmail.com. So before beginning the session, once again, let me thank God for giving me this opportunity to deliver this useful session to share my knowledge among my fellow national, international participants, students, and young researchers. Right. So in this class, we'll have a short introduction towards painting and drawing tools for multimedia. What are the special features that are available in drawing or maybe painting packages? Okay. What are the animation and video tools available for multimedia? What is a common organization, especially in the video formats? Okay. Then we discuss about the very famous standard, which is NTSC, that's available in TV. Okay. And we'll discuss about digital video formats. What is the difference between aliased and anti-aliased? Okay. Then we discuss about the various text tools, shape tools, and how you try to make a selection using the layers palette. Okay. So have already given the independent work or maybe the small tasks in the hymns. Please go through them. Please submit them as soon as possible. And at regular intervals, I'll be giving you some short videos to discuss the original topics. Right. So these are the painting and drawing tools available for multimedia. Like we'll have like 3D modelers. That's how you can better utilize these functions even. Okay, like and in comparison with all other multimedia elements, 3D modelers are much more useful. You'll find it more interesting as well. Okay, so the most interesting part is the graphical user interface. Okay, so that graphical part is the heart of the animation as well. So if the artwork maybe it's very much as like amateurish, maybe like as a beginner if you are trying to do so okay, or maybe flat or maybe uninteresting. So both the creator as well as the users who are actually viewing it will be pretty much disappointed. Okay, so for this reasons we can use Photoshop, fireworks, and painter even where you'll have to produce like crafted bitmap images. Okay, like you try to produce the images maybe like in the PNG format, JPG format, JPEG format, BMP format, and so on. Okay, so for this we'll use software like drawing software like CorelDRAW, Freehand, Illustrator, Designer, and of course you can use Canva even. Okay, so that's how you try to produce the vector based line art. Okay, so that's easily printed in the paper at much more higher resolution. This is the way that you try to combine drawing and painting capabilities, but the systems that actually import only bitmap images. So that is the reason we should be working in a software that is going to support the bitmap images. Okay, so these bitmap images would be of greatest choice, and definitely it's you can info more fine details. Not like if you try to zoom, it will be pixelated. Not like that. Okay, so you can info more details, and bitmap images are especially used in multimedia. Okay, so the vector packages maybe like Macromedia Flash are just aim at reducing this file download times. Okay, in the web. For example, if it is of larger size, it takes much more time to download it. Okay, and this is the ease with which that you can have both bitmaps and maybe drawn art as well. Okay, so in these characteristics you try to use both aliased as well as anti-aliased character. Okay, so the anti-aliased character in the bitmap of the color palette file, it's a good example, a very great example of how you try to go with fine touches that actually improvises the look of a particular image. Okay, so this is the way that you will have the graphical user interface. Okay, so that you will have like pull down menu, like status bars, you will have palette control, and maybe dialog boxes as well where you can make a quick logical selection. Okay, so you can scale the dimensions as well, you can resize it, you can stretch it, you can distort both the large as well as smaller bitmaps. Okay, so you can create geometric shapes, okay, from maybe squares or maybe like circles. Okay, from curves you can make, or maybe complex polygons you can actually make. Okay, so this is the way you can choose for several colors. You can make a gradient, you can make a pattern in any area as well. Okay, so you can paint with the patterns, and of course you can work with clip arts as well. Okay, and this is the way you can use like pen. Okay, different pens, maybe different brush shapes as well, and different sizes even. Here you will have like eyedropper tool as well, so that you can sample the colors. Like the colors, you can have different shades. For example, yellow is there, so yellow different shades are there, blue different shades are there. Okay, and you'll have like auto trace tool as well, that you are going to turn the bitmap shapes into vector based outlines. Okay, so here you are going to support for this scalable text fonts, and you are going to drop the shadows. Okay, so for example, if you have committed any error, that you can go with multiple undo capabilities that allows you to try again. For example, in the text, even if there is any problem, then Control plus Z you press, okay, or Control plus Y you press, undo, redo you have. So same thing is available. Okay. So painting features, you can smooth the features, you can have a coarse edge objects. So the edge preservation, edge strengthening is actually available, okay, in the background with this anti-aliasing. Airbrushing, that's available in several sizes, several shapes, several densities, several patterns even. Okay, and you will have washing colors in the gradients, blending, masking as well. So this is the feature. Will have a title bar, menu bar, standard toolbar, property bar which is available over here, ruler is available, toolbox is available this side, okay, color palette is available here, printable areas over here, drawing windows over here. So you can choose over each of the features, you can try. Okay, for example, if you have to choose a YouTube thumbnail, okay, or maybe any Instagram thumbnail, so you can make with the help of the Canva or maybe any Problem tools even. Okay. So you can support for the third party special effect plugins. For example, some plugins will not be available that you can support into. And you'll have object and then layering capabilities as well, that you can choose to treat the elements independently. Okay, so you can zoom for the magnified pixel editing. Okay, so sometimes the other images that you try to edit with paint or so on. Okay, so even if you zoom, it will appear pixelated. So that disadvantage you will not have. Okay. Also, you will have different color depths, even 1.4.8.16.134.313 bit color as well, and grayscale even. Okay, so color management is very good, and of course dithering capability is much more available, especially with the RGB, HSB and CMYK. Okay, so that's the way you can better efficiently manage with the palette management that's available in the 8-bit mode. Okay, so as I told you, file importing is also available, exporting capability is also available with PIC format, GIF format, graphic interchange format like GIF, okay, like animation, okay, TGA, TIFF format, WMF format, JPG, okay, JPEG, PCX, EPS, PTN, BMP, bitmap image. So everything should be supported. Only then it will look good. Okay, right. And of course, animation, of course, digital movies as well are sequences of this bitmap graphic sequences, especially frames where you go for video editing. Okay, so movie making tools typically take advantage of this quick time, especially for Macintosh and maybe Microsoft Video for the Windows, so that you can use it for creating, you can edit it, you can present digitized motion video segments, especially you want to make a, you can have some effects in it. Okay, right? So the formats also, it should be supported enough. Okay, so how one device is going to send the video picture to another device, so how it is going to support. For example, even in Filmora, even you can actually export it, especially in different formats. You can directly post to YouTube, directly post to Instagram. So that much feature is available. Okay, so that you can send the pictures to a TV or maybe a computer to a monitor even. So the video format is going to describe that particular sequence or maybe the structure of frames that is going to create a moving video image. Okay, so that you can go into commercial broadcast even, and there are several analog video formats like NTSC, it's a very famous format, PAL, okay, PAL, and maybe SECAM. Okay, so video formats, you will have digital equivalents like you will have RS170 or maybe RS340. That's how you try to use the video formats into the computers, and maybe you can use the color field sequential as well. Okay, especially if you take in the case of TV, like it will be supporting like CRT, cathode ray tube. Okay, like we will have like display devices like rows and then columns. So like the displays have a common source material, because the video formats will have several wide adoption as well, and of course a very convenient, very apt organization as well. Okay, so that's how you try to display the visual information for the graphical output devices. Okay. So the video format is nothing but a rectangular image carried with an envelope which contains the information. Okay, app details about an image. Okay, so video formats, there are several video formats like WMV format, MP4 format. MP4 is nothing but MP3, I mean audio plus video. Okay, MP4, WMV, FLV. There are several video formats are available. Okay, so this is where you can use a frame which contains two or more fields sent sequentially that are displayed over time to form a complete frame. Okay, so this you can call it as an interlace. So the interlace video frame is distinguished from the progressive scan frame, where the entire frame you can send it as a single entity. Okay. So frame will be having a series of lines called as the scan lines, and scan lines have a regular consistent length in order to produce that particular rectangular image. So this is a common organization of video format. I told you, like we have MP4, AVI, MOV, OGG. Especially OGG, you can use it in WhatsApp. Okay, right? That's particular type of format. MPG, okay, W comes. You will have several digital formats where the line will be consisting of different number of pixels. Okay. So when the device is going to send a frame, the video format will be specifying that device, okay, about the each line independently from others, so that all lines are sent in the top bottom order. Okay, like we'll have like the frame which may be split into odd and even, or maybe upper and then lower. So that is how this is set. So this is NTSC, National Television System Committee. Okay, so that's a standard where the lower field comes first, then the upper field. So that's the whole frame that you will be having. Okay. So this is the whenever you say like NTSC, we define about the aspect ratio. Okay. For example, if you see in YouTube, okay, the rectangular frame, it will be like 16 cross 9. Or maybe if you maybe use it as a mobile like this one, portrait format, okay, it is 9:16. Sometimes like the community tab, the thumbnail, it will be like 1:1. That's the aspect ratio that you try to define. How you try to display it? It will be like this one, or it will be like this one, or it will be same 9:9, 16:16, 1:1. Okay, so that aspect ratio is also there. Frame rate is also there. Okay, the rate at which the frames are being sent, and interlacing is also there. Okay, so video formats will be using a sequence of frames specifically in a specified order. Okay, so here the single frame will be independent of each other, so the sequence is just one. Okay. So in other video formats as well, so frames will be having an ordered position, and individual frames, okay, within a sequence will be having a very similar construction. Okay, so these are the analog video formats. Okay, so depending on the position, so frames may vary small elements. Okay, so that's how you try to represent the additional information. So here you'll be having MPEG 13 compression that will be eliminating the information that's actually redundant frame to frame, okay, in order to reduce the data sets, and it is going to preserve the information related to the changes between the frames. So these are the different analog video formats: NTSC, PAL, SECAM. Okay, so these are the formats. NTSC is widely used. Okay. So there are MPEG 13 based terrestrial broadcast video formats as well, ATSC standard, okay, DVB, ISDB. So this is how you can use it for the video itself and not for the modulation. Okay, so you will have broadcast video formats, analog broadcast, 5135 lines, NTSC, NTSC-J, PAL-M. Okay, and 6135 lines you will have PAL, PAL-N, PAL plus SECAM. Okay, and for multi-channel audio you will have BTSC standard, NICAM 7138 standard, Zweden A13 IGR standard. And then for the digital broadcast interlace video, you will try to use SCTV or HDTV. Okay, so here you will see 1080. So that's the resolution it produces. And then progressive, it is LETV, EDTV, HDTV. So this is what HDTV, HD, high definition is what everybody wants to. Okay. And then digital TV standards, you will have MPEG 13, ATSC, DVB, ISDB, DMB, TH. Okay. Digital TV standards, MPEG 4, you have DMB, TH, DVB, SBT, VD, ISD. Okay. And for multi-channel audio, it is AAC, Musicam, you will have PCM, LPCM. Okay. Digital cinema, whatever you see in the cinema, okay, theater, okay, like will have UHDV DCI. Okay, so for example, like Netflix or maybe any digital cinema that you try to watch into. Okay, so that you'll have UHDV and DCI. Okay, so we'll try to identify the color rules. Okay, where you try to utilize like brush, especially for soft edge painting or maybe drawing. Okay, so this is the Photoshop. Okay, like we'll have the brush features. Okay, so it is going to draw strokes by clicking and then dragging the mouse over the camera. Okay, so you can change the brush size, especially you can change the settings in the options bar at the top of the window as well, and you can also use pencil tool as well that you can use for hard edged drawing. Okay, or maybe painting, maybe similar options, especially for changing the size, opacity, maybe you choose the transparency. Okay, and you can enjoy much more features. Okay, so pencil tool, you can draw, you can edit the individual pixels, and especially for the zoomed in images as well. Okay. Then for rubbing, you can use eraser that is going to remove the pixels from the camera. Okay, so you can choose between pencil, brush, or maybe block mode from the mode drop down menu in the options bar as well. And you can use special features associated with eraser also. Then you have allies versus anti-allies. So unlike the brush tool, the pencil tool's edges are allies. Okay, so allies means the edges of the object being jagged like this. Okay, so in contrast to the anti-allies objects in which the edges are actually smooth. Okay, so we prefer to have anti-allies edges rather than allies edges. Okay. So in the examples like the top shape, okay, that was created using pencil tool, while bottom shape it was created using brush tool. So brush it will be like this. Okay, so here if you can see some difference, but this one it's little bit smooth. Okay, so the difference is nothing but the jaggedness of the edges of the curves. Okay. Then you'll have paint bucket tool, so that is going to fill the selection with a flat color. Even in paint also you will fill. So in order to use the paint bucket tool, so you maybe click on the area that you wish to fill, and maybe if the chosen area is not within the selection, the paint bucket tool will fill all the similarly colored pixels. Okay, so that's a thing. Okay, within the vicinity of the clicked area. Then you'll have gradient. Gradient is going to fill the selection with a blend of two or more colors. Okay, so that's how you can create your own gradient. Okay, and you can use preset gradients as well, especially available in the Photoshop. Okay, and display the gradient presets as tools, and you can click on the small triangle on the right hand side of the gradient tool. Okay, so this is how you can choose the gradient. See over here, you can choose like different gradients, like different mosaic pattern, different colors that you can choose. You can apply a gradient by setting your desired colors. Choose your gradient style and maybe clicking and then dragging the cursor over the area to be filled. Okay. Then you have text tool. Okay, so that is what you are going to create a text layer. Okay, so it's much easier to use. Okay, so you can select the text tool, you can click on the canva, and maybe you can choose to start typing. Okay, so you can also click and then the drag to create the rectangular text area that will be forcing the text to wrap within the boundaries. And here in the text tool, you can choose to change the font size, change the color, maybe text properties using option bar as well. Okay, so this is how you are going to finish using the text tool. Press Ctrl Enter. Okay, that's a command written on a Mac as well. Okay, so you can also have shape tools as well, like a rectangle, rounded rectangle. Okay, ellipse. Okay, polygon with 5 sides, line, custom shape tools as well, where you can display it in the option bar and you can access the additional options by clicking on the arrow to the right of the custom shape button. So maybe you can use line tool as well, so that's options for the displaying the arrowheads and for controlling the shapes and sizes of the arrowheads as well. So maybe if you look at these options, okay, you will notice there are 3 methods, okay, that you can use it for creating the shape. Okay. So your shape will be created as a solid colored layer covered with a vector shape mask. Or maybe you can think it the mask as a sheet of a dark paper that has a hole in it. Okay, so that's actually your shape. Okay, so cut out of it. And your color shines through the hole. Okay, so that also you can do. Okay, and in order to change the color, double click on the color block in the layers palette. Okay, and to change the vector shape mask, use the vector editing tools. Okay, so maybe you can use it as a path. Okay, where your shape will be created as a path in the path palette even, and that path has been named the work path. Okay, that you can rename. Okay, and maybe you can choose it, maybe use the vector editing tool as a fill pixel as well, where your shape will be created on whichever layer that is actually being selected. Okay, so maybe you can create a new layer, you can create a shape using the fill pixel options on the layer 1. And maybe you can set the foreground and background colors. You can click on the appropriate type and maybe you can choose the color from the color picker. Okay, so color picker, you have the shortcuts like maybe X if you want to switch the foreground and background color, and maybe press D if you have to revert to the black foreground and white background. Okay. Then you will have eyedropper, so that you'll be able to sample another color from your image, and that you are going to set it as a foreground color. So you can simply click inside the document window, drag the cursor to the color that you wish to sample, and maybe you can click to select that particular color. Okay. So the paintbrush, pencil, paint bucket, and maybe any of other painting or maybe drawing tools that can be temporarily turned into eyedropper tool by holding down the Alt the option as well. So these are the features that we were discussing, like foreground and then background color. You can choose onto, and maybe you can add those switches. You can go for several color libraries, and you can go with several foreground background color as well, and you can click on OK. This is how you are trying to make a selection, okay, using the layers palette. So in order to select the pixels on the particular layer, press the control, okay, so that's a command on a Mac, and click the thumbnail of the layer. Okay, so this selection maybe you can make into any transparency of any pixels as well. So for example, you can make make dimmer or maybe darker as well. So painting in the selection definitely will try to recreate the transparency settings of the original layer. So here you can find across several layers, you can choose into making the selection. So this is the element work for you: managing memory, controlling the main loop, okay, loading and caching the game data. So this you try to practice. Okay, you'll have a short introduction, description, like the codes, okay, or maybe if code is not available, you try to do something, okay, in the game, okay, and you try to get a snapshot and have a conclusion related to these topics and submit them in the MS as soon as possible.